I feel like farm-raised seafood kind of got a bad rap towards the end of the 90s, early 2000s. And really, there's a lot of really good actors in the market right now for a good quality farm-raised salmon. So highly encourage it. I get all my seafood from my home, and for Gravitas and Baker's Daughter from ProFish and Ivy City Smokehouse. So those are both across the street from Gravitas and Baker's Daughter. Ivy City Smokehouse is open to the public and allows you to buy restaurant quality seafood at a public market. So we're gonna jump into we're gonna do seared salmon. I love skin on salmon. I know not everyone's a fan or proponent of skin on salmon. I think in terms of fish, easily some of the most flavorful fish in terms of skin being on it. Salmon has a very high fat content, and that skin has a lot of connective tissue with fat in it. So when you sear the skin and get it crispy, it activates a lot of that fat. It actually helps to really kind of, I don't want to say the word lubricate, but it actually helps to kind of glisten the fish and really activate the fat to really make it really delicious. So we're gonna keep the skin on this. I encourage you all to try salmon with skin on. If not, the way we cook it is very easy to remove it after we cook it. So I'm gonna move on to my salmon. I have my pan. I'm using an all-clad saute pan. If you had a cast iron pan, that would be my recommended use. I use cast irons for everything. So we're gonna turn this up to like a medium-high heat. While that's getting hot, I'm gonna finish my apples so I can get that out of the way. My pan is getting hot. I have my oil. I'm using a grapeseed oil. Reason being is it has a higher smoke point than a traditional canola or vegetable oil. And so it actually has a little bit of flavor to it versus a vegetable or canola oil. So I like using grapeseed oil for cooking. Okay, so I have my salmon. So whether it be salmon, whether it be chicken breast, whether it be a steak, this technique I'm gonna show you how to cook this is really universally used and interchangeable. So first things first, it's gotta be dry. If you're gonna sear something and you wanna build up a crust and you wanna caramelize it, it's gotta be dry. So we always pat our fish and our meats down to make sure that they're dry. Another thing is we temper our proteins. What I mean by that is we wanna make sure that this cooks evenly and doesn't overcook on the outside while still staying cold inside. So if we were to take a piece of meat out of the refrigerator and put it right on the grill, it's gonna take much longer for the inside to come up to a proper temperature versus if we tempered it for say 30 to 45 minutes at room temperature where it was all one temperature. So we temper our meats. We also season aggressively. So I like to season from a high altitude. This is gonna be a 4-finger pinch. So like I said, we season pretty aggressively. We season high. Reason we season high is because you wanna get full coverage of surface area. If I came in here and I'm seasoning like this, you're only gonna get pockets of heavy seasoning, and that's not what we want. So we're gonna then turn over to our skin side, and we're gonna repeat. Seasoning high. And then I can tell my pan is ready. So I'm gonna go skin side down into my pan. And then once I put it into the pan, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna let it be. We're just gonna kind of let this sit. I can see now there's a little bit of color forming on the edge of my skin. That's a good sign. That's what we want. So at this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get ready to add in some thyme, garlic, and butter. And we're gonna add the butter in before we turn it over. Like I mentioned before, the butter is the milk solids of the butter are gonna caramelize, and it's going to allow the nuttiness of the butter to come out, and it's gonna impart a little bit of color in the skin and a nice sheen to the fish. So, it smells great, right? You can smell the salmon fat coming out. I'm just gonna do a little sneak peek. And also, if the skin if it doesn't pull off when you go to touch it, it means it's not ready. It'll tell you when it's ready, it'll talk to you. Like that guy came off pretty good, so that skin is not quite where I want it. So I'm gonna give it a couple more seconds. Okay, so we're gonna add our butter now. This is a judge-free zone. It's a judge-free zone. Garlic and thyme go in here. If you wanted to omit the butter, you can. If you want to add the butter in, I highly encourage it. So I'm moving the butter around to make sure it's coating the fish. I'm turning my heat down now. And so what this caramelization and frothiness is what we're looking for. And now we're going to turn our salmon over, and look at that skin. Look at that skin. Nice and crispy. I can feel it. So next step's going to be basting it. So basting it is where we're going to take this butter and we're going to gently coat the salmon with this. And this is a learned technique. This is not something that comes naturally. So I'm going to actually put the thyme and garlic on top of the fish. It's a way of kind of just like letting the flavors just drip through it. And so the motion is just like this on top of the salmon. And what that's going to do is going to help to create a sheen, help to add flavor and color. And then once you get good at it, you can then get a little faster with it and baste it a little more aggressively. But that sheen is really gorgeous. So we're going to let that do its thing. This is going to cook for about 30 more seconds before we turn the heat off. I feel confident from a touch that this is a fairly cooked, so I'm going to probably turn my heat off in the next 10 seconds. But notice this salmon did not go in the oven. You can put it in the oven if you wanted to. I would say no longer than 60 seconds. For me, salmon needs to be medium rare inside. And medium rare to me on the fish is moist and light red to pink in the center. Not quite red, but light red to pink. So I'm going to shave my red onion. That's going to go into our salad. Nice thin julienne. That's going to go into the salad. We're then going to clean our dill and our parsley. All right, so our dill, we already picked it off the stem a little bit. We're now just going to pick this a little bit more. Just into the little petals, little leaves. And we want to be aggressive with the herbs. We want to make sure that we're seasoning it pretty well and imparting a lot of flavor here. So we're going to do the same thing with our parsley. I'm going to do one more baste, just nice and gently. Okay, this is going to come out. We're going to rest this onto a towel. And we are ready to serve this. Roasted salmon with a whipped polenta, shaved apple salad, whole grain caper sauce.